Welcome to the programming skill using C, lecture number 9. In this lecture, we'll be dealing with factorial series, 2 factorial or 3 factorial series using while statement. Work out more problems using while loop, and as I said, work on the summation of factorial series. First problem would be how do you calculate the factorial of a number followed by the summation of factorial series. So these are the 3 problems we are going to work out during this session. First, flowchart in C program to find the factorial of a given number. What is factorial? Factorial, suppose I say 5 factorial. 5 factorial means 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. That is the meaning of a factorial of a number. Then I have got a series here. Earlier we did the series s equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3, etc. Now it is not 1 plus 2. 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial. Add n terms. Similarly here 1 factorial plus 3 factorial. Odd number of factorials. We are going to add. So let us go through. We'll find out how to do. First of all, always it's important to understand how to do, to analyze the problem. And once you have written the flowchart, it is easy to write any C program. So we shall take the first one. Write flowchart and C program to find the factorial of a number. Factorial of a number. That is n factorial is equal to 1 into 2 into 3 up to n minus 1 into n, as I said. So let us say we assign 1 to a variable called factor. So fact 1, the first fact 1. So that is equal to 1. So then how do I get 2 factorial? Multiply this 1 by 2. Fact 1, fact 2 is equal to fact 1 into 2. So it becomes 1 into 2. How do I get fact 3? Fact 3 is equal to fact 2 into 3. So that is 1 into 2 into 3. How do I get fact 4? The fourth number. So then I get fact 3 into 4, it becomes fact 4, factorial of 4, 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. Similarly, how do I get fact 5? Like that, or fact n. So I find the factorial of n minus 1, multiply by n, then I get the factorial of n. So this is the algorithm I'm going to through which I'm going to find the factorial of a given number, maybe 5, maybe 10, that is n is the number. So this becomes my general formula to find out the factorial of a number. Fact is equal to earlier factorial into I. So fact is equal to earlier factorial into next number. So fact 3 is equal to earlier factorial into 3, etc. So this becomes the general formula which you are going to use. With this, I would like you to write the flow chart to find out the factorial of any number, say n, factorial of n. So you have to input n and then find the factorial. Earlier we have done the summation of series. Instead of 1 plus 2 plus 3, I have to do 1 into 2 into 3, etc. up to n. Use the while loop. So here is the problem. So s is equal to 1 into 2 into 3 up to n. We will work up to the fifth factorial of 5. So we assign 1 to fact and I value is equal to 1. So here, therefore, factorial 1, when I is equal to 1, I am inside the loop, 1 I is equal to 1, 1 into 1. So you get the first factorial and I becomes 2 here. Then it comes here and 1 into 2 becomes 2 factorial. I becomes 3. I becomes 3 here. It goes in is less than n, less than 5. Therefore, 1 into 2 into 3 is 3 factorial. I am multiplying 1 into 2, 2 factorial by 3. I get to 3 factorial. I value has become 4 here and I get into the loop again and it becomes 4 factorial. I becomes 5. So I less than equal to 5 is equal to 5. So it gets into this loop. So it is multiplying, therefore earlier factorial 4 factorial with 5, I get 5 and I becomes 6. I has become 6 automatically since I value is less than 5, more than 5, it comes out of the loop and it prints the value of factorial, that is equal to 1200. If you multiply this numbers 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5, you get 1200 and therefore it has come out of the loop. Now it is your task to write the complete C program. Once again, I request you to pause the video and then write the program, then come back to the video and then see whether you have written your program correctly. Here we have the complete program. As I said, always write this box where you'll give the name of the program, what it is doing, by whom, on which date, then main, declaration of variables, then the title of the program, input the value for n, and initialize I to 1 and factorial n to 1, and then you say as long as I is less than equal to n, factorial n is equal to factorial n into I plus plus, and you are going to display the factorial of 5 is equal to 1200. So that is, you have worked this problem. I hope you have done it correctly. We go to the next problem now. Next problem is this series, slightly difficult, you have to understand. Unfortunately, students don't get the understand. They know how to get factorial of 1, factorial of 2. They put quite a lot of looping structures. It has to be done in one loop. Please remember, this summation has to be done in one loop, not 3 or n loops. So therefore, how to do is that. So we have to analyze again, as I've told, whenever you have series, always look at the series and ask this question: how is the next term got from the earlier term? So 3 from 2, 4 from 3. Very simple. 1 factorial by 2 will give you 2 factorial. To 2 factorial into 3 will give you 3 factorial. That is the method. So that is how we are going to find out. Therefore, I've got here initialize factorial to 1. And let S be initialized, the sum be initialized to 0. So 1 into 1, I get factorial 1. What do? I add it to the previous sum, 0. So that is 0 plus 1 is added. You increment the value of I to 2. Then now I value is 2, previous factorial is 1. I multiply 1 to 2, it becomes 2 factorial. So I add this 2 factorial to the earlier factorial. Therefore 1 factorial plus 2, this is going to be the value which is contained in S now. And I is become 3. Now with that, I multiply the earlier factorial by 3, I get 3 factorial. I add it to the earlier sum. Earlier there is 0 plus 1 plus 2 factorial is there, and I add to that, I add this 3 factorial, and value of I becomes 4, and you find the value of the factorial 4, that is earlier factorial into 4, and here you have got, you add 4 factorial to the earlier sum, I is become 5. So with that you calculate the fifth factorial of 5, and add it to the previous sum, and I value has become 6. Therefore I have crossed the value of n, 5, and with that I get this value 153 as the value of factorial sum of these factorials. Therefore, this is the formula: sum is equal to previous sum plus factorial of a number I have generated. So this has to be used in your flowchart. So now pause your video, and then write the flowchart for this program, complete flowchart for this program. I hope you have completed. Now I will show you how to get this problem done. So this is the series I have to generate. I have explained already. Therefore, S is assigned 0 to S, 1 to F factorial, and 1 to I. And then, of course, you have to input the value of n. That is what you have to do in your complete flowchart. I have not written the complete flowchart. So here, F is equal to F into I. That is 1 into 1. Therefore, what is the value of it comes here? It adds that 1 to the earlier sum. I is incremented to 2, as I have explained already. Then you find the second factorial. Second I is equal to 2. It multiplies earlier factorial by 2, and it adds to the earlier value, and I becomes 3. I becomes 3. It comes here, and it finds the third factorial here, adds it to the previous sum, and I becomes 4. And I becomes 4. Again it will come, it finds the fourth factorial, adds it to the previous factorial values, and I becomes 5, and I comes here, still it is inside. So then I find the fifth factorial, I add it to the earlier sum, and I has become 6. Therefore, I6 is less than equal to n, which is not true. It comes out of the, and it prints the value 153 is the sum of these factorial 5 factorials. So this is how you are going to get. Now again, you pause the video and write the complete C program. Complete C program. Please do that. Don't go and rush and look at the slide, but write the program and check whether you have written properly. So this is the program again, the uh, documentation box where you will mention the name and the topic, the program specification, the problem specification. Here you have a declaration and you input the value for n. You have got I initial as I to 1, sum to 0, and fact is equal to 1. I find the factorial, add it to the previous sum, etc. Go on till the value of I is less than equal to n. The moment it becomes more than n, it will come out of the loop and it will print. For example, if I say I is equal to 5, the sum of 5 terms of factorial series equal to 153. It is going to be printed. As is shown here, the sum of 5 terms of factorial series is equal to 153. With that, we come to the last problem in this series of problems. And here this time it is S is equal to this sum, factorial of 1 plus factorial of 3 plus factorial of 5, etc. n terms, n terms. Always, as I said, whenever you have series, we will be dealing with little complicated series in the next lecture, like cos of x and sine of x, etc. So first thing is you ask, what should be the algorithm? How am I going to calculate the next term in my series, etc. So spend some time before you go through this chart. You spend some time and ask yourself, how am I going to do? How do I get 3 factorial from 1 factorial? How do I get 5 factorial from 3 factorial, etc.? As you see here, 1 factorial, 3 factorial means 1 into 2 into 3. That means if you multiply 1 with 2 and 3, you get 3 factorial. Similarly, this is already 3 factorial is this. So I multiply that with 4 and 5, I get 5 factorial of 5. Similarly here, I multiply the earlier factor, 5 factorial by 6 and 7, I get the 7 factorial. Like that you go on. Therefore, previous factorial into two numbers. So which are the numbers? How to get those numbers? You have to get a general formula for that. And I have given you examples here. So T1 is equal to 1. So assign 1 to T1. Then how do I get T2? I value is equal to 1 here. I value is equal to 1 here. So I have to get 2 and 3 from I value 1. So how do I get that? So I value is 2. I have to, previous term is T2. I have to multiply by 4 and 5 to get 5 factorial. When I value becomes 3, I have got T3 into 6 and 7. I get 7 factorial, etc. So this is how you have to write. First you make this chart. What is the formula you are going to derive? And that depends on these values here, 2 and 3. When I is equal to 1, how do I get 2 and 3? I have noticed students find it so difficult to get this. They know it is what it is, the numbers, but how to get 2 and 3, how to get 4 and 5 when I is equal to 2, and how to get 6 and 7 when I is equal to 3. They find it so difficult because we are not trained to think. But here I'll explain to you. Therefore, when I is equal to 1, so 2 and 3, 2 into 1, into 2 into 1 plus 1, that is 2 plus 2 plus 1, 3. I got 3. So when I is equal to 2, how do I get 4? Multiply 2 by 2 as I have done here. 2 by 2 I get 4. How do I get 5? So 2 by 2 plus 1 you get 5. Similarly here, when I is equal to 3, how do I get 6? You multiply this thing 3, that is 3 by 2. So 2 into I. And here again 2 into I plus 1. The general formula is going to be T is equal to next T is equal to previous T into 2 into I into 2I plus 1. So this becomes the formula for generating the next term. So please remember this. Please remember. Not remember. You don't have to remember. Memorize. You have to derive. That is very important. Look at these numbers and try to derive this formula. And then now you write the complete flow chart for finding out the sum of odd factorial series, the n terms of odd factorial series. Yeah, I hope you have written it. So we come assign 0 to S, 1 to F, and 1 to I. And we say as long as I is less than equal to N, we shall work it out for 4 terms. So S is equal to 0. S is equal to 0. What is the factorial? F is equal to 1. So 0 plus 1. Then I is equal to 1. So how do I get? So I become 1 into 2 into 1. 2 into 1 and 2 in, plus 2 plus 1. So 2 into 1 is 2, 2 plus 1. So I is equal to 2 now. So I is equal to, already the first term is there. I have generated the next term that is F, next to F, and I is equal to 2. So I add this to the previous term, that is 1 plus 6. As you see, it becomes 1 plus 6. I have added 6 is the value of the second term, that is 3 factorial. Uh, 3 second term is 3 factorial, and I get now the 5 factorial, that is previous term into 2 into 2. I value is equal to 2 into 2, and therefore it is 4 into 4 plus 1 5. So I get the next term, and I values become 3. I add this term to the previous, so 1 plus 6. I am adding this, value of this is 120. See how it has become suddenly so big, 6 to 120. And then I added, find the next term, that is I get the 7 factorial, 7 factorial, that is previous term into 6 into 7. As you say, I value is 3, 2i, 6, and 2i plus 1. And therefore, as you see, this is the formula. I value is equal to 4, and I see how big suddenly the value of uh, 7 has become 5040. 5040. I calculate, and you have to do that. I would like you to do the next two terms, and as you find the sum of these, because it will come to, I have entered only 4, so sum of these 4 terms, 1 factorial plus 3 factorial plus 5 factorial plus 7 factorial is equal to 5167. So this is how you have to write the flowchart, write the complete flowchart, and now you write the C program. Now you write the C program. See that your C program is well intended with all the prompts, and you should look beautiful as I have written here. So sum of odd factorial dot C, what it is to be done, and all the prompts here, input the value of n, and you initialize these values and find. So use first sum is equal to sum factorial, earlier factor is equal to 1. So you are adding, already the first term is added here, and then you have the next term is generated. I go on generating next term, and then you display. As you see, enter the number 4, 4 factorial, or 4 terms. It finds the sum of 4 terms as 5167. So that is the sum of the first 4 terms of this series: 1 factorial plus 3 factorial plus 5 factorial plus 7 factorial. These are 3 problems for your homework. As you see, we have done it earlier. 1 minus 3 plus 5 minus 7 with the sign. I would like you to complete this program. And similarly now, 1 factorial into 2 factorial, 2 factorial into 3 factorial. Again, ask the same question. How do I get 2 factorial from 1 factorial? How do I get 3 factorial from 2 factorial? So that is the question you have to ask. How do I get 3 factorial from 2 factorial? And with the I values, always get a general formula for that and use it in your looping for I is equal to less than equal to n. Similarly here, a little more complicated. 1 factorial, it goes to the denominator. 3 factorial, 5 factorial, n terms. And here 1 becomes 3, 3, 5, etc. So these are 3 exercises. If you first you make a chart, write the value for I, value for factorial, value for sum, and then increment I, etc. And then once you have written the chart, then you write the flow chart and convert that into C program. Wish you all the best. Wish you all the best. Thank you.